There are stories, then there are myths. Again, stories but a lot more godly and epic. Stories that outlived centuries and eventually became one of the most important pieces of human literary work. And with wars that went along for centuries, eternal punishments, trickery and deception, and newborns being hurled down mountains, Greek myths are one of the most interesting and one of the most talked about myths around the world. So, what makes these stories so interesting? I don't really know. I read a lot of Percy Jackson, maybe that's why I think so. But tell me, haven't you ever heard of Zeus? Or at least Hercules? Heard of Achilles or maybe just his heel? Now, have you heard of Hunabku? That's right, as expected. In Mayan mythology, Hunabku is considered the supreme deity of the pantheon of the Maya, known as Soul God. So, let's talk about one of the most amazing stories from the Greek myths. Now, we all know Zeus, the prime god, the god of the skies, and the guy who wielded the thunderbolt, and the guy who had way too many affairs in the mortal and the immortal world. One of the most famous ones is his affair with Danae. Acrisius, the lord of Argos, had a lovely girl by the name of Danae. Now, the Greeks visited the oracle of Delphi once in a while, which apparently was their window to the future. Not only did it tell the visitor about the future in the form of prophecies, it also helped shape the future in ways more than one. The king visited the oracle and was told that, "O seeker of the prophecy, you're gonna die by the hands of the son of your own daughter. Have a good day, and you'll receive an SMS after the prophecy. It's a feedback form. 5 stars, okay?" So, naturally, he didn't really care about it and detained his daughter in a bronze underground chamber so that she won't be able to marry someone, let alone have any offsprings. Now, you might think that this was something any tyrant would do, but the truth is that you cannot escape your destiny, no matter how hard you try. By doing this, he was doing nothing but producing hate in her daughter's mind, who once loved him dearly. Danae began praying to all the gods she could remember. One fine day, Zeus's notification went off and he checked his prayers app. He gazed upon the beautiful lady and thought, what would be the best way to help her out? Bash some heads and get her out? Probably not. I'll just bless her with a child, whatever. So he went in there with his best tuxedo and appeared in a swirling cloud of glittering gold and said, "I have heard your prayers, young lady. Lose all fears. Are you on Snapchat?" Now Zeus, as we all know, is a charming gentleman and the lord of the universe. But even for him, Danae was hard to get, no doubt. So 9 months after that glittering gold incident, a child was born and Acrisius' dearest lost his mind. No one goes in, no one goes out. How in the name of Zeus's beard did that happen? I mean, he was close if he was looking for answers. So he went in to see the child. His daughter held up the child and told him, "Father dearest, this is my child, son of Danae and Zeus, Perseus." But it's a child. He could have just killed him or something. Who cares? So the point is that the children of gods were not something you could right click and send to the recycle bin. Nope. If you know about any other stories, you know what happens when the gods are angry. He couldn't just kill them, but I mean, if they drowned in the sea locked in a wooden chest, it won't be his fault, right? So, yes, that's exactly what happened. They got yeeted into the sea. But come on, which Greek hero had such a lousy ending? So Danae asked Zeus for a little bit of help. With the help of Zeus and Poseidon, they washed ashore in the city of Seriphus, which was ruled by King Polydectes. The king's brother, Dictys, who was a fisherman, found them and helped them find shelter. Now Danae was downright gorgeous. Even after Dictys tried to make them avoid any attention and rubbed sand on Danae's face, Polydectes fell in love with her. Perseus grew up there and was taught warfare and other skills in the temple of Athena. Soon he was a 17-year-old boy who was stronger than the wrestlers and wielded the sword better than anyone in the king's army. If at any point Polydectes tried to get too friendly with Danae, he would just give him a look and he backed off. After all, they knew that this was Zeus's son and not to be fiddled with. Hence, the only pebble in Polydectes' shoe was Perseus. I'll just call him Polyman from now. That sounds really horrible. But Polyman did his homework. In other words, he typed at fatesnow.com how to defeat a demigod. From his knowledge of demigods, he got to know that all of those god spawns had a flaw. A fatal flaw which according to the fates was supposed to be the reason of their demise. 17 years with a guy who was the talk of the town, he obviously knew a thing or two about him. Perseus, being the son of Zeus and the prince of Argos, was very humble and kind. However, he had grown up as a castaway in an unfamiliar realm with no cash in his wallet and just his mother as his family. That bit made him a little, only a little bit, sensitive about his rep score. And Polyman knew that. So, he came up with the idea of the century. Polydectes announced that he was gathering wedding presents for the princess of an adjoining island. Her name was Hippodamia. Her father, King Enamos, was an old companion of Polydectes. Minor details, not significant. What's important was that was his master plan. Another master stroke by Polyman. Everyone bought in presents. From diamond skin assault rifles to infinity bow enchantments to $10,000 gift cards. I mean, Polyman was king by day, but gamer by night. You don't miss out a day with the boys, right? Not even in ancient Greece. Perseus was not into parties a lot. Him and the mother dearest stayed away from it. While everyone brought in gifts and they offered nothing, Polyman said so everyone could hear. All things considered, Perseus, what have you brought as a present for my partner's little girl's wedding? You are the mightiest fighter in Seriphus, right? Everyone says as much. Doubtlessly, you have brought the most noteworthy offering. A bit harsh, don't you think? I mean, didn't Polydectes already know that he was the poorest being in the court right now? Perseus could hear snickering in the courtroom. He was a proud man. He came forward and said, "What do you demand, King of Seriphus? I shall bring in that gift no sooner than you can say Polydectes. I swear on the river Styx." He should not have said that. Polyman got what he wanted. He said, "I demand the Gorgon Medusa's head as the offering." It was at that moment Perseus knew that he was in trouble. Although he was a half-blood, Medusa was not an easy kill. It would be an easy 1v1, GG, Perseus out, one shot, one kill. For those of you who don't know Medusa, she was among the Gorgons. Apparently she was a beautiful one, and was different from her brethren. Also, she and Poseidon had a thing going on and they were caught by Athena in a compromising position. That too inside her temple. So as you may assume, Poseidon was like, "Alright, gentlefolks, I assume it's adios times," and being a god, he was spared. But someone had to bear Athena's rage. So with Poseidon gone, only Medusa was left. So she was cursed. She had snakes for hair, talons, and whoever met her eyes immediately got turned into stone. And she was angry. So yes, it's pretty dangerous. It was her destiny to die one day, no doubt, but was Perseus strong enough? Of course not. But he had help. On his quest, a young man with a helmet with wings appeared before him and introduced him as the god Hermes. He gave him a pair of his latest wing shoes. I mean, drip is necessary in wars, right? On his advice, Perseus headed off to find the Grey sisters. Yes, because they were grey, and yes, because they were sisters. The sisters of the Gorgons, who were supposed to give them further directions. He met the Grey at their lair, each uglier than the first. Hey, I'm not judging, alright? This is how the story goes. Don't attack me. The three shared one eye and one tooth. While they were exchanging, the gamer reflexes kicked in, and Perseus caught the eye and the tooth midair. Gross? Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, alright? Do you or do you not want to stay alive, huh? He blackmailed them to help him. They told him the Gorgons lie in the east, where they have a garden statue business. But the statues are real people. That's the only difference. Also, south from here, in a huge dead oak tree, he'll find arms and ammunition. They lied. The only thing he found was a well-balanced sword, which sliced the oak tree in one go, and a shoulder bag. And also Hades' invisible fedora. No AK-47s. What a letdown. Okay, I mean, the cap was cool. He met Athena there, who was waiting for him, and she gave him the first copy of her shield, Aegis. Or so she said. Could have been 100th one, but I mean, hey, who's fact-checking? So he flew east and discovered Medusa's lair. As the sun rose, he entered, because the Gorgons slept in the day. He tippy-toed inside and found her sleeping. He inched closer and noticed a detail which he didn't think of earlier. Medusa was pregnant. Then it dawned upon him how Medusa ended up in this miserable state. Right, so killing a monster was different. Killing a pregnant mother was different. His only family had been his mother, so of course it was a little difficult. But Medusa was a monster, and Perseus had his responsibilities as a half-blood. And also, he had to take it back to King Polydectes, right? Another responsibility. So, he had to do it anyway. It was Medusa's destiny to die by Perseus' hands. So, chop chop? The head tumbled down, and knowing that it could still petrify people, he put it in his backpack. Her blood was all over his new shoes, damn. While her body withered away, he saw two figures emerge from her body. Right, she was pregnant. One shaped like a horse, #Pegasus cameo, and another was a man in golden armor. He didn't wait to ask for their Instagram handles and flew back. On his way back, our guy Perseus took a detour to save a nearby galaxy's namesake, #Lady Andromeda, and also slayed a certain Hydra. But that's a story for another episode of... Okay, copyright issues. That's a story for another time. Perseus went back to the kingdom Seriphus and found out that not only he was going to marry his mother dearest, but was also harassing her for the same. So he went into his court with Andromeda and Medusa's head and opened his own garden statue store. Yes, exactly. You know how. He made Dictys the king and returned the divine items to the gods, gifting the Gorgon's head to the goddess Athena, who then put it in the center of her shield, Aegis, which then became her recognizable emblem forevermore. As for the prophecy, determined to try for some degree of peace with Acrisius, Perseus took Danae and Andromeda to Argos. After hearing this, Acrisius, still horrendously mindful of the prophecy's prediction, left Argos and went to the Pelasgian land. Unexpectedly, that's exactly where Perseus was headed, after not finding Acrisius in Argos, halting at the city of Larissa so he could witness the athletic games ruler Teutamides held out of honor of his dead father. When Perseus came forward, an announcement was made. A round of applause for Perseus of Argos. At that point, when Perseus tossed the discus, Acrisius realized who that was and went, "Aw, snap." The discus inadvertently hit an elderly person, murdering him on the spot. As it ought to be clear at this point, that elderly person was, as a matter of fact, Acrisius, and accordingly, the prediction was satisfied. So, children, you cannot escape your fate. So do not even try to run. I mean, you could if you had Hermes' shoes. Not sponsored, but hey, if you want to. So yes, in that age, some girls actually dated Greek gods or godly swans. Confusing? Well, Greek myths is the confusing ride. Wait till you find out who they married, with the Titans being the trendsetters for that. So just gulp that down in one go and keep riding. About the swan, yes, so Leda was a beautiful young lady, wife of King Tyndareus and the queen of Spartans. Zeus was easy to impress apparently. He laid his eyes on her from his abode at Mount Olympus and fell in love with her. He took the form of a swan and came to her, making it look like as if he was escaping from a bird of prey. Eventually, the swan seduced Leda. Now, how did a swan manage to do that? Is a question I don't want answered. Neither should you. Now, she had slept with the king on the same day and eventually gave birth to 4 children. Helen, arguably the most famous and known to be the most beautiful mortal woman ever, whose abduction by Theseus caused the war between Athens and Sparta. Yes, Helen of Troy, correct. Castor and Pollux, twins who were considered inseparable, and the pair were highly regarded heroes in Greek mythology. And Clemenstra, although less known, would also play an important role during the Trojan War. So, in the end, Greek myths are interesting and disturbing and horrible and amazing at the same time. Check out the novel series about Perseus' namesake, if you know what I mean. Also, do not imagine what all happened at the swan incident. Or just sit with some unsea potion if you want that image in your head. That'll be it for today. Leave a like and comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, or leave a review, depending on what platform you're listening. Hope you have a good day. I'll see you in the next episode of Offhand Tidbits. Signing off.